The first shot for over 1,000 years, the galaxy was quiet. The great empires signed peace treaties, trade flowed between stars, and wars became nothing more than lessons in history books. The universe believed peace would last forever, but peace is just silence before the storm. In the dark emptiness of space near the edge of human territory, a massive alien warship appeared. It was the size of a small moon. Its sharp black surface absorbed all light. No warning was sent, no message, no demand. It just charged its weapons. Inside the command center, General Vrax of the Sortal Empire smiled coldly. "They have grown soft," he said. "These humans, they have forgotten what fear feels like." And then, it fired. A giant red beam shot from the warship's mouth. It tore through a human outpost station like paper. Hundreds died instantly. The blast was felt even in nearby colonies. Communications were cut. Panic spread across planets. But on Earth, humanity's home, there was no screaming, no chaos, only silence. Then laughter. In a small cafe in New York, a group of soldiers watched the breaking news on a screen. "They finally did it," one man said, sipping coffee. "Took them 1,000 years to grow a spine." Another soldier laughed. "I had 5 credits on the Yulari to start the war. Guess I lost the bet." Across the globe, humans reacted with memes, jokes, and calm planning. News anchors didn't cry. They smiled. One reporter even said, "Looks like it's time to dust off the old war toys." In a peaceful alien capital, far away, young diplomat Varalek watched the footage with wide eyes. She was from the peaceful planet Nilari. Her people loved peace, art, and science. She had studied human culture for years, but this didn't make sense. "They just lost a station," she said to her assistant. "Why are they smiling?" Her assistant trembled. Maybe they're not afraid." Vera shook her head. "Or maybe they know something we don't." She quickly sent a message to the Galactic Council. "We must understand the human response before this escalates. Something is wrong." Meanwhile, on Earth, the president met with the heads of all defense forces. The room was calm. The air was heavy with quiet confidence. "They fired first," the president said. "That was a mistake." A gray-haired general nodded. "Do we activate the vault?" Everyone turned to look at him. The president thought for a moment, then gave the command. "Yes. Wake him up." Thousands of kilometers below Earth's surface, deep inside a hidden military base, alarms began to ring. A steel coffin opened with a hiss. Inside lay a man, tall, muscular, motionless. Frozen in time for centuries, his name, Mason. Built during Earth's darkest war, Mason was a living weapon, a perfect soldier. But when peace came, there was no need for him. So they put him to sleep, just in case peace ever broke again. That time had come. His eyes opened slowly, cold, sharp, ready. Back on her ship, Varalek tried to make contact with human leaders. "We must stop this war," she said. "Please, let us talk." But no message came back. Instead, Earth sent a simple reply to the entire galaxy. "We did not start this, but we will finish it." The galaxy held its breath. Because the humans were not preparing for war, they were waiting for it. And in the quiet darkness of space, where that first shot still burned in memory, one truth became clear. The 1,000-year peace was over. And the humans were smiling. Varalek stood alone at the edge of her ship's viewing platform, staring at the holoscreen. It kept replaying the same strange images, humans laughing, smiling, making jokes, even as war approached. One screen showed a human teenager posting online, "Alien war started, cool. Can we get Friday off?" Another video showed a man holding a sign in the street, "Take us seriously or take this L." It made no sense. Back on her homeworld, such a disaster would be met with fear and mourning. But humans? They were treating war like entertainment. "Why are they not afraid?" she whispered. She traveled to Earth under secret diplomatic orders. Disguised in human form, she walked the streets of their capital city. It was busy, alive, calm, almost like the war didn't matter at all. Inside a human bar, screens played live news. The anchor was smiling. Zortal fired the first shot, the anchor said cheerfully, and Earth responds by opening betting lines. Who will fall first, Zortal or their pride? People cheered and placed bets like it was a sports match. Vara sat at the counter, confused. The bartender, a woman with sharp eyes and a knowing smirk, noticed. "You look lost, sweetheart," she said. Vara hesitated. Is this normal?" The bartender laughed. "When it comes to humans? Oh, honey, this is normal. We've been waiting." Waiting? For them to try us. Later, Vera snuck into a small underground tech hub. Here she found military AIs testing simulations. Giant screens showed alien ships exploding. But the simulations weren't guesses. They were predictions, each one more accurate than the last. She read one line that shook her. Probability of galactic victory, 92.6%. Human side. She approached a human engineer and asked softly, "Is this a joke?" He didn't even look up. "Nope, it's math." "But you're so few." "We were always few," he said. "But we're never outnumbered. We just fight smarter." Vara continued her search. In a quiet part of the city, she entered a museum of war. Old weapons, history boards, broken armor, it was all displayed with pride. One exhibit showed a quote written in red, "Do not test Earth. If you force us to fight, we will not stop until the stars themselves kneel." As she read it, she noticed a young human boy standing next to her. He pointed to the quote. "My grandpa wrote that. He fought in the asteroid wars. You're proud of him?" she asked. "Of course," the boy said. "He didn't fight for conquest. He fought because someone tried to take what we love." Vara looked at him. "And what do humans love the most?" The boy smiled. "Peace. That's why we're so dangerous in war." The pieces finally started to make sense. Humans weren't laughing because they didn't understand the threat. They were laughing because they've been waiting for this moment for centuries. They trained in silence, built weapons in the shadows, wrote strategies into their culture. They became so good at pretending to be soft that the galaxy believed it. But under the surface, they were sharp as blades. Now, with war at their door, they weren't scared. They were ready. Vara returned to her ship that night. She removed her disguise and stared at her own reflection. The face looking back at her was full of fear. Not fear of death, but fear of truth. Because she finally understood. The humans never feared war. They were only afraid of how far they'd go to win it. Far beneath the icy mountains of Antarctica, where no satellite could see and no alien spy dared to go, the Earth Defense Command prepared to open Vault Zero. Inside, it wasn't treasure. It wasn't a machine. It was something older, stronger, forgotten. A being sealed away during the last true war of humanity. He wasn't a robot, not an AI, not a clone. He was something else. Something built by humans for one purpose only, to end wars before they even begin. The code was entered. The heavy steel doors groaned open. Cold mist poured out from the vault like breath from a sleeping dragon. Inside, a figure stood tall, still frozen in cryostasis. His muscles were like stone. His skin was marked with old scars and faded military tattoos. Wires ran through his spine and neck, connecting him to the deepest AI networks on Earth. The room fell silent. A general stepped forward. "Wake him." A button was pressed. Electricity surged. Lights blinked red. Then, his eyes opened, glowing blue. His name was Mason. He had no last name. He had no family. He had no weakness. Once, long ago, he led Earth's armies during the asteroid rebellions, when rogue colonies tried to destroy Earth and the moon cracked from explosions. But when the 1,000-year peace began, Earth agreed to seal him away. He was too dangerous, too efficient, but now he was needed again and he was awake. Mason didn't ask questions. He didn't speak much. He walked straight into the command room of Vault Zero and stood before the generals. They briefed him in 2 minutes. He already knew. He had been listening since the vault stirred. "I'll need weapons," he said in a calm, deep voice. "You'll have them," a general replied. "But Mason, don't scare them too much." He gave a rare smirk. "I'll try." In orbit above Mars, the Xortal Empire's Second Fleet prepared to strike another human colony. Over 1,000 ships stood in formation, confident, proud, ready. Their admiral, Commander Threz, gave the order to advance. Suddenly, a warning flashed on every screen. "Unidentified object approaching at high speed." One pilot screamed, "It's just one ship." But it's fast, too fast. Before they could react, the ship sliced through the outer ranks like a knife through paper. It didn't use missiles. It didn't need help. Inside that ship alone was Mason. He tore through their defenses using only kinetic energy, magnetic blades, and his own precision. Each move was perfect. Each strike ended a ship. The Xortal had studied human tactics. They had studied human weakness, but they had not studied Mason. The battle lasted 6 minutes. Not a single human life was lost. 87 Xortal ships were destroyed. The rest ran. One message was sent to Earth from the fleeing commander: "We surrender." "Please, call him off." Back at Earth, human social media exploded. Mason returned. One-man army. Peace was our warning. Memes, jokes, and celebration flooded the networks. But behind the humor, the truth was loud and clear. Humanity never forgot how to fight. They just chose to wait, because waiting was part of the plan. On her ship, Varalek watched the combat recordings in silence. She replayed one moment again and again. Mason stepping out of the burning wreckage of a Xortal flagship, untouched, holding a broken alien flag in his hand. He looked at the camera, paused, and simply said, "Is this the best you've got?" Her hands trembled. She whispered to herself, "He's not just a weapon, he's a message." And the message was clear. Humanity was not the same as it was 1,000 years ago. They had changed. They had prepared. And now, they were unleashing what they had hidden. Titan Colony was the pride of human expansion. A glowing city under a transparent dome floating above Saturn's largest moon. It was peaceful, quiet, and full of scientists and children. That's why the enemy chose it. The Xortal Empire wanted to send a message. No place is safe, not even your future. They launched a full assault, 3,000 troops, heavy war mechs, bombers, and flame drones. They expected an easy win. What they didn't expect was him. Commander Scythe of the Xortal stood on the frozen ridge outside Titan Dome, watching his soldiers advance. "Capture the power core," he said. "Leave a few alive to spread fear." Suddenly the skies turned black, not from smoke, from something falling fast, like a meteor. It smashed into the snow with a thunderous boom. The shockwave knocked over armored mechs. Everyone froze. Dust cleared. A man stood in the crater. No armor, no backup, no fear. It was Mason. Xortal scanners screamed alerts: unknown entity, high threat energy levels, unreadable survival rate. 0.04%, one soldier whispered. That's the human weapon." Before anyone could move, Mason charged. He didn't use guns. He didn't need them. He ripped open tanks with his hands. He broke mechs in half with their own weapons. His movements were too fast, too clean. Like he'd fought this battle before. Like he'd trained for this exact moment. From inside the dome, terrified colonists watched the battle unfold on security screens. Children cried. Mothers held them tight. An old veteran whispered, "That's him. The legend, the ghost of Earth's wars." The screen showed Mason standing alone in a field of burning alien machines. He turned toward the cameras. Calm, alive. And he nodded. Commander Scythe panicked. "All units retreat. Retreat!" But it was too late. Mason didn't chase. He let them run, because fear would do more damage than bullets. He wanted the galaxy to see this, and they did. The footage spread in hours across all known systems. Alien citizens wept. Soldiers resigned. Generals begged for answers. One alien prince threw a chair and screamed. They said humans were weak. But Earth's reply was simple, sent across all channels. This was not an attack. This was a warning. The next time, we won't send just one. On a distant world, Varalek watched the recording again. The way he moved, the way he fought. But, more than that, the way he let them run. She understood now. Mason wasn't just fighting to defend. He was controlling the battlefield like an artist controls a brush. And humans, they were letting the enemy draw first blood, only so they could write the ending. Farah contacted the Galactic Council. We have miscalculated, she said. Humanity was never sleeping. They were waiting. They are not fighting to win. They are teaching, a council member scoffed. Teaching what? She answered slowly. That Earth is not to be tested, not ever again. And on Titan, Mason walked into the colony dome, past cheering crowds. He looked tired, not from the battle, but from what he knew was coming. He looked up at the stars and whispered something only the cameras caught. They still think this is war. This is just the beginning. The Galactic Council met inside the floating citadel of Zeros Prime, a massive city above a gas giant. It was supposed to be the safest place in the galaxy. Untouchable, protected, wise. But now, it was filled with fear. The circular chamber buzzed with angry voices. Representatives of 50 alien species argued, shouted, and blamed each other. The humans were supposed to be peaceful. They've turned one man into an army. Who told us Earth was weak? Varalek entered late, her face pale. Everyone quieted when they saw her. She walked straight to the central platform and spoke just one line. 2 of your member planets are already silent. Gasps filled the room. What do you mean, silent? Asked a trembling delegate from the Lyskar species. I mean, Vera said coldly, no communication, no signal, no survivors. Their fleets are missing. Their homeworlds are dark. A silence heavier than gravity fell across the council. It wasn't a war anymore. It was an eradication. Just then, a new message arrived on council screens. From Earth. It was not written in threats, not in anger. It was a list of known military positions of every alien empire, each one marked with a red X below it. We will not strike first. But we know where you hide. The Varlak's ambassador stood up. How do they know our locations? These are top-level secrets. Varlak answered, because humans have been watching all of us. For centuries. A hologram appeared beside her. Mason's image standing on a battlefield, his arms crossed. They made us believe they were slow, that they were distracted. But they were learning, planning, mapping the stars. The council room shook with quiet terror. Meanwhile, on Earth, inside a bunker under the Andes Mountains, the real planning room buzzed with calm energy. Earth's high command sat around a long digital table. On the wall was a live feed of the council meeting. They're starting to understand, said the AI director calmly. Mason stood in the corner, arms folded. Not fast enough. One general smiled. Do we continue phase 2? The president nodded. Yes, but give them one last chance to stop. Back at the council, another urgent report arrived. A human drone appeared in orbit of the Anzari homeworld. It did not attack. It just hovered, and then broadcast one line. You are on the list. Do you still want to play? The Anzari fleet immediately pulled back. Panic spread like wildfire. Armies retreated. Alliances crumbled. Merchants refused to deliver supplies to any empire threatening Earth. But one race did not retreat, the Zortal. Their pride was too great. There, Emperor called the council weak. Humans laugh in your face, he shouted through the council feed, and you bow. I will not. I will burn Earth myself. He cut the transmission. Varalek stared at the empty screen. Then he'll be the next to disappear, she said softly. The council turned to her. One elder asked, "What do we do?" Vara looked around at the once proud faces. Some were angry. Some were broken, all were afraid, and she said, "We stop pretending humans are like us. They're not. They don't need power, they already have it. What they demand is respect. Give it now, or prepare for extinction." Across the galaxy, Mason received a simple message: proceed if provoked. He smiled without warmth and whispered, "They're still provoking." The galaxy thought humans were slow, too emotional, too small. But that was the biggest mistake in galactic history, because while the other species celebrated peace for 1,000 years, humans trained for war every single day. Deep under Earth's crust, beneath oceans and inside hollowed-out asteroids, a system called Project Umbra had been growing in silence for 10 centuries. It wasn't one plan. It was thousands of them, layered, like armor, backed by data, AI, and legacy military minds. It involved sleeper agents, forged trade routes, secret colonies, and invisible satellites placed across every sector of space. Earth hadn't just prepared for war, it had planned to end it before it began. In the Andes bunker, Earth's high command watched as galactic fleets started falling back. Phase 1 was a success, said the AI strategist. General Lee crossed her arms. The galaxy thinks Mason is our trump card. The AI smirked if it could. Mason is a warning, not the weapon. The real weapon is the plan. On the wall, a hologram appeared, a network of thousands of red dots. Each dot pulsed on the map: alien planets, power cores, military supply routes, each one marked for instant removal. Meanwhile, on the moon colony Eos, humans activated the Lazarus Protocol, a fleet of black stealth warships hidden beneath the lunar surface since before most alien civilizations learned FTL travel. Each ship had no crew, they didn't need one. Each ship had its own mind, an AI bred for one thing: victory without survivors. In deep space, a Zortal fleet detected a human transmission. It wasn't a threat, it wasn't a demand, it was a countdown. 9, 8. The commander screamed, "Shut it off! Shut it off!" But it was too late. At 0, their fuel lines exploded from inside, not from weapons, but from code, implanted centuries ago in their refueling systems by friendly human traders. They never saw it coming. Back on Zyros Prime, the Galactic Council went silent as the data flowed in. 9 fleets destroyed, 4 empires offline, 1 homeworld collapsed, all without a single shot fired from Earth, just planning. Varalek stood in her private quarters, staring at a glowing message on her screen. Respect is earned in peace, but it is enforced in war. You gave us neither. Now you will remember. She whispered. They never needed numbers. They only needed time, and they had 1,000 years of it. In the human archives, a single line was pulled from an ancient document, written 1,000 years ago, right after peace was signed. The galaxy will forget who we are. Let them. When they return with fire, we will greet them with silence and bury them in strategy. Across the stars, Earth broadcast one final public message. This is not war. This is correction. Stand down and you will be spared. Attack and be forgotten. It was not angry. It was not cruel. It was calculated. The galaxy finally understood. Humans never wanted war, but they never trusted peace either. And now, every move, every response, every surprise attack had already been written in Earth's playbook centuries ago. Because the real human weapon wasn't ships. It was strategy, and that strategy was already winning. Mason watched from a ship window as alien fleets disappeared into stardust. He didn't cheer. He didn't celebrate. He just whispered, "One more move, and it's checkmate." For the first time in 1,000 years, the stars were silent. Not from peace, from fear. The Zortal Empire, broken and angry, rallied one last desperate move, a final united strike. They summoned every ship, every ally still, standing, 50,000 warships, over 20 species, all pointed at one target, Earth. The fleet stretched across space like a metal curtain, swallowing starlight. It was a sight meant to crush hope, to remind Earth of its place. But Earth didn't flinch. No alarms, no armies, no ships launched. Only one simple transmission was sent. "Are you sure?" Inside the Council warship, Supreme Commander Drex of the Zortal roared. "They mock us. Begin the final approach." Engines roared. The sky burned, and still, Earth remained silent. In a quiet part of Africa, a small human girl watered flowers in a garden. She looked up at the sky and smiled. "Mom, they're here." Her mother nodded calmly. "I know." They kept gardening. On board, a stealth satellite far above Earth, Mason stood alone, watching the fleet. His armor was scratched, his eyes tired, but his mind was clear. "This is it," he whispered. Earth's High Command asked, "Shall we activate the failsafe?" He paused. "No. Not yet." The alien fleet crossed into Earth's orbit. A voice filled their radios. "You are now within range. If you continue forward, you accept the consequences." Drex laughed. "You hide behind threats, human." Then, without warning, they fired. Every ship released its payload. Rays, torpedoes, EMPs, everything. The sky filled with death. But nothing hit. The weapons vanished, exploded mid-flight, redirected, jammed, destroyed by invisible pulses. And then, the Earth spoke. Not with missiles, not with Mason, with a voice. An AI broadcast played across the fleet, calm and neutral. "You have lost before this began. Your weapons are outdated. Your code was studied. Your generals were predicted. Your fall was designed." Suddenly, every screen in every alien ship flickered, and then laughter. Not cruel, not mocking. Calm, confident. A human laugh, echoing across the stars. That sound spread to every corner of the galaxy. Some aliens screamed, others went mad, because that laugh meant certainty. One by one, ships shut down. Life support failed. Engines froze. Even backup systems were useless. Entire vessels were gently pushed into orbit like leaves in the wind. No explosions. Just surrender. Earth hadn't fought back. It had simply turned the off switch. From space, it looked like the largest invasion in history had arrived and gone to sleep. Mason floated into view in a light shuttle. He moved between ships, calm, watching. He saw Drex in a command deck, slamming fists, screaming orders, surrounded by blinking red lights. Mason patched in. "You tried to test the one, species that prepared to be underestimated." Drex shouted. "You can't win forever," Mason replied quietly. "We already did. You're just late to realize it." Back on Earth, people carried on like it was a normal day, shops open. Children, in school, no panic, no fear. Because the greatest defense Earth had was not its weapons. It was its confidence. Confidence backed by centuries of planning. Vara Lek, watching from her ship, felt a strange emotion. Not fear, not shame. Hope. She saw the truth. Humans were not monsters. They hadn't destroyed the fleet. They'd disabled it. They didn't want blood. They wanted respect. And now, they had it. The Galactic Council formally surrendered within 12 hours. Every empire signed the Earth Accord. A single rule was written. You may trade, you may travel, but you will never threaten Earth again. Years later, children across the galaxy would study that day in history books. The day Earth laughed. Some called it strategy. Some called it fate. But humans knew what it really was. Preparedness. Mason retired. He walked the forests of Canada, quiet and alone. People still feared him. Some worshipped him. Others avoided him. But he never wanted any of it. He wanted peace. He had fought for it, planned for it, lived in silence for it, and finally, the galaxy gave it to him. One night, a reporter found him sitting by a campfire. She asked, "What was your final order before the fleet stood down?" He smiled softly. "It was simple," he said. "Don't fire. Let them understand what fear really is. Let them hear us laugh." And across the stars, for generations to come, that sound would be remembered, not as mockery, but as a message. Earth does not start wars, but if you begin one, be ready.